In this episode, I'm going to do something a little bit different than just talking about credit education in general. I'm going to go through some of these results that we get in from the credit bureaus for some of our clients who are enrolled in Sturgis Credit Repair.
Yes, it pays to have good credit.
You would always want to be on the side of having good credit.
Do you think it pays to have good credit? So we have about 2 to 3 ways that we get updated from the credit bureaus anytime that we send out challenges for all of our clients. So the easiest way for all of us to stay updated is whenever our clients enroll into Sturgis Credit Repair on our website, they're actually enrolling into our in-house credit monitoring service. That allows us to view their most updated credit report every 30 days and get alerts on their credit throughout those 30 days if there's a new account open, if there's a new item that was deleted, if something was detected. So, just being updated electronically is, almost the easiest way, especially in 2025, for us to stay updated for all of our clients. Now, the reason why we don't really rely on that is because a lot of things may not be reported instantly. So for example, we get so many customers who call in, they're like, hey, I know you guys are working on this account or that account. I haven't seen anything in my portal, or I haven't received an update, because everything we see electronically, the customer sees that as well. So we're very transparent with that. If we can't see it, they can't see it, vice versa. If they can't see it, we can't see it. So a lot of people call in and we're like, hey, nothing has been reported yet, or, we don't see anything. So let's just wait until the dispute or the challenges close out. Or a lot of times people get a new credit card and they're like, hey, did it report yet? So those are things that a lot of times the electronic update part of our service, it's kind of iffy, because you can't see anything unless the actual system itself detects it. And a lot of times the system can be outdated when it comes to credit reports. I just responded to an email this morning from a customer. He was somewhat freaking out because he noticed a new credit card was open in his name, but this alert, is just outdated because that credit card he opened 2 months ago, and he's just now getting the alert like, hey, did you open this card? And he was kind of freaking out a little bit. But a lot of times those apps can be updated very, very after the fact. Something has truly been updated. But the point of this episode, I want to go through the physical method that we receive updates from. So a lot of times when we challenge accounts through the creditors or through the credit bureaus for all of our clients, electronic updates, that's good once the credit bureaus or the creditors have made their decision. And then, weeks later, once the reports are updated, we finally see that. But this packet of responses here, as y'all can probably see if you're watching the YouTube version of this episode, we get some of this in at least twice a day. So a lot of times the post office or USPS, they will drop these in our box, at random times throughout the day, because it's like 2 or 3 different batches a day that we get. Sometimes we start on a Monday morning and there's, a packet of letters or responses this high, if you're watching, like a foot tall. Sometimes there's just different parts of batches of responses we get, a morning batch or, an evening batch. They'll alert us if, we have something like that later throughout the day. But a lot of times when we go to look at results and give actual updates of results or situations, it's due by reading the details in these responses here. So if you're watching this episode on our YouTube platform, which I hope a lot of you guys are, if you're listening to this on Spotify, for once, this is actually a good episode to merge over to the YouTube platform and actually see what I'm looking at. If not, just follow along on Spotify. I believe that's my biggest platform for the It Pays to Have Good Credit podcast anyway. So when we receive these responses here, it'll have a few things on it. So it will say to Sturgis Credit Repair, our business address, etc. So many times, and a lot of your so-called credit repair companies or credit repair people, you know, they're not going to receive anything like this, or they're not going to actually show you this on camera, because a lot of times their biggest thing is they're just trying to market their business and just claim they can do things. But the credit bureaus are actually in direct contact with us here at Sturgis Credit Repair. You guys can see clearly on this camera here, and I'm going to zoom in on this this packet here. Right now I just kind of have it broken down in half. I guess I can show the rest. Yeah. So the cover letter, this is from TransUnion, for example. So in this first line, it will say our investigation of the dispute you submitted for this client is complete. Please review, or actually let me flip this around and finish reading it. Please furnish the below information to the consumer. So pretty much the credit bureaus is literally saying, hey, we finished everything you guys submitted. We're done with the investigation. Please send this to the customer. So they're wanting us ourselves, you know, to send this or to furnish or, you know, relate this information to our customer, you know. So they are in direct contact with us. They are telling us what to do. They are giving us, you know, all of their results. Another thing I think is crazy is, and this is something else a lot of people don't understand when they're signing up for Sturgis Credit Repair. Unfortunately, you know, they have to pay for their credit reports because the credit bureaus charge for it. So a lot of people think that's somewhat crazy. I think they offer like a $1 trial and then it's $19 a month. But even if you look here on their results, it will say your credit score or the customer's credit score. But right here, it says not purchased. So the credit bureaus even want you to pay them money to get your own credit score. I just think that's kind of funny or kind of crazy. But a lot of times, you know, people go to look at the credit scores on Credit Karma or any type of app that doesn't put a hard inquiry on your credit when you check it however many times you want to. Unfortunately, those are Vantage scores, and most lenders don't really use them. They may, you know, use them for like, you know, a soft pull inquiry, or not an inquiry, but just a soft pull to where it doesn't cause an inquiry. But when it comes to, you know, applying for a mortgage or an auto loan, they use a FICO scoring system, which I believe that's what this score is going to be if you pay the credit bureaus for that. But, you know, since I've been in business for many years, I don't know any customer who have told me they're paying the credit bureaus to get their credit score. So, you know, there may be some people, but I haven't found anyone yet. So if you or someone you know that's paying TransUnion, Equifax, or Experian directly for your credit score, you know, drop that down in the comments and let me know how that's working out for them. I'm just curious of, you know, if that information is accurate, or, you know, if that's the same to what lenders are pulling. So just let me know. All right, so I kind of fast forward through some of these packets here. And I'm going to go through some of these results and explain what may have happened, or, you know, what type of accounts they are, etc. So for this first client results here, we have 3 third-party debt collection accounts. These are some of the accounts that we love to work on because, again, they are third party. So I'm gonna later explain exactly what that mean and, you know, why we love them more and what the situation is. So when we go to dispute a negative item on someone's credit report, usually these are accounts that have late payments on it, or it's charged off, or, you know, it's sent to a third-party debt collection company, which third party means this is a company who's attempting to collect the debt for whichever company you didn't pay. So let's just say you have a $500 credit card through Chase Bank or Capital One or, you know, whoever, and you didn't pay it. Well, they're going to hire a third party to collect this debt, you know, in hopes to receive it back. Or maybe, you know, they may work out some deal with a debt buyer, and that company now purchase the balance for pennies on the dollar. And then this new company is just going to be like, oh, well, we bought over the account, it's ours now. You know, you owe us $500, or settle with us with this amount, and we'll just call it even, so those are the types of accounts that we love to work on the most, because there's not really, I wouldn't call it loopholes, but there's actually a lot of laws that's out there to protect you and me as both consumers. There's laws out there that, states how some of these items have to be reported, how these items have to be verified, whatever the case is. So these are, and I'm gonna zoom in on the photo here again. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm going to just maybe crop this letter here on the screen here somehow, but these are 3 accounts that was recently deleted for this client. So the first one is a account through Credit Collection Services. This is a third-party debt collection account. The second one is Jefferson Capital System. We deal with them a lot. And then Rent Debt Automated Collection. So again, these are 3 accounts that were deleted from this client's account, and mainly because these accounts either were not verified, there was some type of errors reporting going on, the account was incomplete, or who knows, the company may have not responded. So on the back side of this packet is answers to why it was deleted. However, I'm not going to show that on camera because it has too many account numbers and the client's name is just all over the place. So I like to keep them or their identity off of my podcast. I don't think that will work out too well. But anyway, this is another one here that we deal with a lot. This is LVNV Funding LLC. They're a company that buys debt, and they buy for the pennies on the dollar. Let's just say someone owed a $500 balance that they didn't pay back. Well, this company's now going to kick in and they're going to buy that $500 account for like, who knows, $50 for, just to joke around, but it may be $50, who knows. And then they're going to contact you and say, hey, we're the new owner of this account, pay us $500. Oh, you don't have $500, pay us $300, whatever the case is. So again, this was one account that may have had some type of errors on it, or we proven that they couldn't verify the account, they didn't have the original contract, they didn't have any of their documents enrolled to fully validate this balance they were attempting to collect. So and the same for a lot of these other companies here. Consumer Portfolio Services, this is again a third-party account. And then we have Source Receivables Management. And again, all of these results here are just due to just different reasonings, so regardless if it's a account that has late payments, this is something that, about to be charged off. A lot of times people have a repossession, people have accounts that they broke a lease just due to, any type of, not really legal reasons, but I had a situation where a young lady, she had to break her apartment lease because the apartment had mold in it, and the company would just, I guess they didn't have the money to fix it, or maybe they were going bankrupt, who knows. But it was very bad for her health, and she couldn't just continue living there with her newborn, and she had to get from out of there. However, her doing that for her own safety, and the health of her newborn, her doing that is still considered breaking a lease. Now, I think that apartment company ended up selling it to another company that, had the funds to renovate all these apartment, bedrooms and stuff at the building. And they eventually took over. But again, it was just lack of supporting documents, lack of details, and reasonings for why the apartment lease was broken in the first place. I mean, that could have killed her. And it was shown that she reached out several times, they refused to fix it, she went to the doctor, had all these things to back up what led her into breaking that lease, and that item was deleted from her credit. But the reason I'm bringing that up is I see that this client have a lease account on here, this Rent Debt Automated Collections. They are a company that collect debts for people that break their lease or have any type of rental negative history on their credit report. So This isn't an episode just stating that you can go out and just mess up your credit 24/7 and expect for it to be deleted just like that. This is just a episode to be fully transparent with some of our clients and customers who are subscribed to the podcast or just follow the podcast. This is just to be transparent with you guys and new listeners, just showing how the credit bureaus respond, how we get updated, things that we do see deleted on a daily basis, and things are not easy. There's many accounts that don't get deleted or just not deleted as of today. There's many times where things have to go back and forth. They may request more supporting details or documents from this end. They may do the same for that company, the reporting company or the creditor. So a lot of times, anytime we submit something that initial month, they may come back the second month and say, hey, we're still working on it, or at least this is a response. Please allow us time to receive the remaining documents, or the creditor may submit something to where it makes the credit bureaus not want to delete something, and then we challenge how that was used. So a lot of times this is a back and forth, month to month, and a lot of people always question, hey Chris, is this something that people can do themselves? Of course, people can make their own coffee at home, but if they don't have the time, like me for example, I record these episodes first thing in the morning at sunrise, so there's a lot of times to where I don't have time to make my coffee at home. I go out and get one from Starbucks, or there's a local company here called Dutch Bros. I get a coffee from there when I'm going get these packets of results here. So there's times where I don't even have time to make my own coffee, so which leads to this is just being a service. Now, people can do this themselves month after month after month. Now, the question is, are they really going to do this, when they get home after work on a random day and look at these results and process the next step? Cool. If they had the time to do it, sure. But the thing is, do they know what the challenge, So there's a lot of arguments in the world, and I don't know why credit repair is the worst industry that people look at when it comes to a service, because look at restaurants. Restaurants is a service. You can make your own hamburger at home, but if you don't have the time or you just want to go somewhere for the convenience, you hire a restaurant service, or you pay a restaurant service and they cook it for you. You pay a fee for them to cook it, versus you doing the labor at home for free, and the only thing you're buying is groceries. So there's a lot of argument with that. And just like tax people or the taxing industry, you can file your own taxes for absolutely free. You can go to the IRS website and fill out the form and do all that, or download the TurboTax app and it'll help you do it for free. But a lot of people, they pay a CPA or a tax professional because they're more educated in what they're doing, and it's just more of a convenience. Some people just don't want to go to the website and spend an hour typing in all that stuff. They rather go sit down with someone, pay them a few $100, and it's done within 5 minutes. They don't have to scratch their head and do math. Especially me as a business owner, I can write down all my profits and losses throughout the year and expenses and do all this stuff for free somehow, but I don't have the time. I don't care to learn how to do taxes. I just rather pay my CPA who does it for me. And, I'm in his office for maybe 20 minutes. I'm in and out, so I don't care to learn any of that stuff. And there's a lot of our customers who feel the same way about credit repair. There's people that can go on some type of app and press an online dispute button, which the only thing that does is just say that account doesn't belong to you. You want to dispute it. That doesn't do anything. You're not going to get far with that. The only chance you have of that getting deleted off of your credit is as if the creditor just don't respond at all. But 99% of the time, you dispute something by clicking a dispute button on Credit Karma or the credit bureau's app or anything like that, you're not going to go far with that. Now, when I mean credit repair, I mean the actual process the hard paperwork of going through these accounts, looking at the errors of the account, requesting verification. Once they do prove that it's verified, challenge the method, how it was verified, get that information, challenge the creditor, all of those details, month after month after month, back and forth. You know, these things, they report for 7 years. So you either go through that process or you wait 7 years. So again, it's just a service for anyone who's out there who just don't care to learn how to do some of this stuff, or just simply don't have the time. Now, if you know how to do this and you do have the time, well, no, don't pay anyone, you know. Like me, for example, if I was ever in some type of legal trouble and I knew the law better than any lawyer, I would never pay for a lawyer to defend me in court. I would just defend myself. You know, I know the laws and things like that. However, most American citizens don't know anything about the court system or the laws and things like that. So they hire attorneys. You know, it's just a service for people who don't have the time to learn or just have not learned. That is all for this episode. If you guys have any questions, if you know someone or you yourself have any questions on something that is on your credit report, reach out to Sturgis Credit Repair. You can contact us by emailing info@sturgiscreditrepair.com. Sturgis is spelled STIRGUS. You can also visit the website www.sturgiscreditrepair.com, and you can sign up online. We offer a first month free trial. There's many FAQs that's already on the website. You know, many times people ask the same thing over and over and over. So, you know, me being the convenient person that I am, this goes back to just saving people's time. You don't have to call in and ask questions, or call, how much is it, and then hang up. You know, you don't have to wait on hold for that. Everything is already on the website. How much the service is, how much this takes on average, what we work on, what we can't do, what we can do, how you're updated. Every single question that you can possibly think in your head, you know, at the time when you're looking online or just curious about signing up, I promise you, it is already answered online. There's like 30 FAQs, frequently asked questions, already listed on our information page. All of those details are there, and 90% of the people that go to that page sign up within 5 minutes. It is that easy. So yeah, that is it for this episode. If you use credit to improve your lifestyle and would like to share your story on the It Pays to Have Good Credit podcast, feel free to reach out to us at info@sturgiscreditrepair.com. Sturgis is spelled STIRGUS, creditrepair.com.